Hey guys, we have a MacBook Pro 15-inch here, A1286 model. The board number is 8202915-B. The machine has no backlight. This is I believe an early 2011 MacBook Pro. So first thing we'll do here, I'll just power it on and show you that we have a no backlight problem. Our front-end technicians have already tested the parts. We know that the screen is good. Okay, so we plug in MagSafe here. If we put the flashlight on the Apple logo at the back of the machine, like that, we could see on this side very faintly, I don't know if you could see it on the camera there, but we can see the Apple logo on the display. So there's no backlight function. So the first thing we're going to do here, we're going to unplug the machine, disconnect the battery, and just do a quick visual inspection. Switch to the overhead camera view. So board looks great, actually in very good condition for this old of a machine. Doesn't look like there's any corrosion or anything like that. So we're going to lift the clip on the connector here for the screen, and we're going to turn it on again. This part's a bit awkward. We have to kind of open it up so the screen comes on. So I'll angle it like this. This is how we're going to test backlight voltage. So the machine is turning on right now. We have our multimeter here in so we can read voltage. Okay. And if we look quickly over at the schematic view, switch to the display screen and focus in on the LCD connector, which is up here. On the far left side, we'll see these 3 pins here. We can measure backlight output voltages. So switch back to the overhead view. Let's get our black probe on ground and red probe there, measuring. So we actually have 25, close to 25 volts, which is normal. So that means the backlight actually should be working. So the next thing we're going to test in this situation is it's called SMC lid. So we can check if the machine, for some reason, if the machine thinks that the lid is closed, because if the machine thinks the lid is closed, it's not going to output. It's not going to tell the backlight brightness to go up. It's going to stay with the backlight off. So switch back to this schematic view. We're going to look for SMC lid. From experience, we know it shows up over here on this connector, right there. So pin 8 on J6955. Back to the overhead view, and we're going to measure at that point. What we're looking for is 3.4 volts. So it's this one here, and you can see there on the multimeter we do have our 3.4 volts, so it is not a problem with SMC lid. So at this point, I know what the problem is because I've seen it many times before. Full credits for this repair go to Louis Rossmann. I watched this tutorial of his on one of his earlier videos, and it's helped me solve a lot of machines. This exact model machine with the same problem. So I'll show you what we do. Go back to the display screen here. We're going to look at the backlight IC, and we're going to look at this line here, LCD backlight PWM, and it's going to be 0. It's supposed to be 3.3 volts, but it's going to be 0. So we're going to measure at that point and see what we get. So I got the probes on pin 1 of our 9704 LCD backlight PWM, and sure enough, it is 0. So this is going to be that exact same problem. that we've seen many times before on this model. And once again, full credits to Lewis for showing us how to solve this. So let's switch to the display screen here. Okay, so I'll just explain what's going on here. So this is what controls like the backlight brightness, and being at 0, it's just going to always have the brightness at off. We want it to be at 3.3 volts, and then it would have full brightness. So if we see where this line comes from, we can see it's coming out of U9600, which is this chip here. So Lewis covers in his tutorial video why exactly it's better to use the method we're going to use here than to go and change this chip, because this chip connects to the, I'll show you here, right here. It's the GMUX chip, and it talks to the CPU and the PCH, and if we change that, then it's very likely we're going to run into other problems. So the solution he's given us is to simply steal voltage from a 3.3 volt source and feed it directly into pin 1 of into pin 1 of R9704, and essentially give full brightness all the time. The user won't be able to adjust the brightness, but this is still this is a feasible repair for this problem on this model, and we've done it many times before, and everyone's been happy with it. It solves the problem. If we are to go and change the U9600, like I said, we're going to run into other problems, GPU related problems with the machine. So let's switch back over to the overhead view here, and we can get started on the repair. I'm going to unplug power. Battery's disconnected. Okay. All right, let's switch to the microscope view here. So we don't actually have to pull the board out of the housing to do this. So there's our backlight IC. Switch over once again to the display screen so I can explain one more time what we're doing. We're just going to be stealing, so we have our PP3V3SO source here. We're going to run a jumper from here to here, and it's going to give 3.3 volts at all times to this, or sorry, not at all times, when the machine is in an SO state, to this point, and it's going to give us full brightness, and we'll solve the problem. Let's switch back to the microscope view and run our jumper. We'll start by turning on our fume extractor. So we're going to add a little bit of flux to each of the points we're working with here. And then I can just add some, I'll add solder to each of the points that we want to run our jumper between, and make it easier to run the line. Alright, we turn off our fume extractor, use some 99% isopropyl alcohol, clean it off. Looks good. Now we'll just give it a thin coat of UV mask. Grab our UV light and let it cure for 2 minutes. All right, that looks good. Switching back to the overhead view. Let's put the clip down on the LCD connector. Right. So now we can test this machine out. angle it towards the camera here. All right, so as you can see, the screen lights up and we have backlight. So once again, full credits to Louis Rossmann for showing me this solution a few years back when he put out that tutorial on YouTube. It helped me solve a lot of MacBooks of this model with this problem. It's a feasible, cost-effective solution to solve this common fault. So very grateful for that. If you enjoyed the video, or you learned something, or it helped you solve this exact problem, or all of the above, please hit the like button and subscribe, and we'll see you on the next one. Thanks for watching.